This is Diplomatic Ties on the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA. The United Nations was established on October 24, 1945, in the aftermath of World War. The founding members signed the UN Charter in San Francisco. The purposes and principles of the UN are maintenance of international peace and security, developing friendly relations among nations, achieving international cooperation in solving global problems, and promotion of respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms, among others. The UN's 6 main organs are the General Assembly, GA, the Security Council, SC, the Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC, the Trusteeship Council, the International Court of Justice, ICJ, and lastly, the Secretariat, which is the administrative organ headed by the Secretary General. Top among its key functions is peacekeeping and conflict resolution, in addition to human rights promotion and protection, including humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. The UN specialized agencies, programs, and funds include the World Health Organization, WHO, United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, United Nations Development Program, UNDP, World Food Program, UFP, and United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR. Records show that the United Nations has a strong presence in Nigeria, working to promote peace, security, and sustainable development in the country. Not long ago, the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs approved the immediate release of over $6 million to support victims in flood-ravaged Maiduguri in Nigeria's Borno State, where severe flooding killed dozens of people and displaced hundreds of thousands others. In this edition of the program, we looked at the United Nations and global peace. NTA Diplomatic Ties crew had an interview with the UN Resident Coordinator and Humanitarian Coordinator in Nigeria, Mr. Mohammed Malik Fal, at the UN studio. I'm Nancy Godiamini. We take off like this. You are both the resident coordinator and humanitarian coordinator of the UN in Nigeria. What does this mean? What's the definition of your job, and to what scope are you operating?
My job is first to represent the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres, in Nigeria. He is also to try to bring together the UN family, which, as you know, is very large, and working in different areas. And to bring them together means that we have more cohesion on the work UN is doing for the government and for the people of Nigeria. It means also that we avoid fragmentation, we avoid duplication, we avoid overlap, and make more impactful the UN work. And when I say impactful, it means in the development front, it means in the peace building front, it means in the human rights protection front, but it means also in the humanitarian assistance front, which is quite important in the role I am playing. And that's why my title is Resident but also Humanitarian Coordinator in Nigeria.
So you must reside in Nigeria to do this job?
Indeed, and it's for me like coming back home, because I have served here previously as a UNICEF country representative between 2016 and 2019. Then I moved to a different level of responsibility within UNICEF, and now I'm coming back as a UN resident coordinator, and I'm back since last February.
That's Nigeria, your home. Okay, today, looking at the United Nations, commemorates 79 years of its establishment. What can you point to as major achievements of this organization during this period?
Let's say that the United Nations has been created in the aftermath of maybe one of the major disaster that mankind has gone through, which is the Second World War. In that time, it was only 51 nations that created the United Nations. In that time, many countries like Nigeria were still under colonial rule. And at that time, what the world needed was, learning from the atrocity they have gone through, to build peace and to build an architecture that not only support peace they have gone through, to build peace and to build an architecture that not only support peace but also promote development, promote freedom, promote human rights, also promote development, and also assist the number of people that have been suffering due to conflict, due to natural disaster, but due to also hardship economy. And that's what UN is about. Now, in those 79, we have made a lot of progress, but we have seen that also sometimes those progress are reversed, or those progress are experiencing setback. If you take today's world, I think conflict is coming back, and we have seen it in different continents. You have seen also that government are more and more using gun to settle disputes, which is against the doctrine of the UN, and which we believe shouldn't be that way. It should be the way that, in a kind of peaceful way, in a kind of dialogue, in a kind of positive and constructive engagement, people should settle dispute and difference that way rather than using gun. Unfortunately, that's what we are seeing. But let me say also that during those 79 years, the world have witnessed the increase of the climate-related shock. The environment has been deteriorated, and we have seen the manifestation in different ways. I mean, here in Nigeria, we have drought, we have flood, we have heat wave, number of issues that remind us that we, mankind, are not taking properly care of the environment and of our ecosystem, which to me is something that is important, because this is a planet which doesn't belong to us. We should leave it as a legacy to the generation that are coming, and therefore we need to take care of it. And I think that's one of the areas also in which UN is working.
How actually is the UN able to fund or execute most of these projects or humanitarian programs, and even maintain peace and security, because all these duties are actually capital intensive?
That's true, but you rely on the contribution of its member states. That's one of the commitments. It relies also on mechanisms that are based on trust fund, through which sometimes voluntary contribution brings the resources that we need. We are seeing also some UN organizations very much active in engaging the private sector, which are contributing also to the UN work. I think there are different sources of funding, but the main one, of course, is the contribution that is coming from its own member state, which is a commitment they took when they founded this organization.
We are in Nigeria, and I would want to ask you, this pact for the future, where is Nigeria, the place of Nigeria in it?
I believe that this pact is something extremely defining for the future of Nigeria. Because let's remind that Nigeria, in many respects, is the number one country of the African continent. In terms of demographic, I think that's clear. In terms of economy, it's clear. But I feel that sometimes people tend to look at the power and the stance of Nigeria through only those two criteria. But I think there are more. Nigeria probably is one of the most vibrant countries when it comes to innovation. Someone was telling me more than 20% of the startups in the African continent are based here in Lagos. You have such a vibrant cultural and art industry that almost the entire continent and the entire world look up to Nigeria. Then you have a lot of potential for development. whether it is in agriculture, whether it is in mineral resources, whether it is in green energy or potential for developing renewable energy. I think for all this potential in Nigeria is so important that most of the time when I address public, I say that the reason why for us Nigeria is important, it's because if we make it, if we succeed in Nigeria, we will succeed in the rest of the continent and hence succeeds in the rest of the world. But if we fail in Nigeria, that failure also will take back the continent and will take back the world. That's what the centrality of Nigeria is, and that's why to me those defining elements of the pact of the future resonate so well in the context of Nigeria, and that give us also as a UN here in Nigeria much bigger burden on our shoulder, because we have to make sure that Nigeria succeeds through the SDG, that Nigeria contributes to the strengthening of the multilateralism, that Nigeria contributes to the future generation, Nigeria contributes to mitigate the climate crisis, Nigeria use all its human resources, human capital potential to contribute to the innovation that will be the one that will drive the history for the generation to come.
Mr. Faye, you've actually succeeded in saying that Nigeria is at the center of it all. The world succeeds once Nigeria succeeds.
That's exactly
That's what I just said now.
That's what I'm using.
We will hand it here. I will take a break now and continue with the program in just a moment. We will continue now. When you look at conflict resolution that the UN embarks upon between nations or among nations, for example, this ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, and the Israeli-Hamas crisis that is ravaging almost the whole of Middle East is getting affected now. It appears all these are defied any solution. To what extent actually has the UN waded into these matters to solve them so we can have peace?
UN waded in different ways, because if you go back to the charter, it has a lot of provision that could help to settle or solve this conflict, like respect of nations' border, pacific approach to settlement of dispute and conflict. There has been in the case of the Palestinian crisis that you have in the ocean, Palestinian and Israel, and even Palestinian and Lebanon, United Nations resolution that could or that has provision for settling this conflict. But we have to remember also that UN is not only about the Secretariat or the Secretary General, it's also about the member state. And you have different instances within UN where decision is made. Some of the decisions are made in the Security Council, and we know the Security Council is still based not only on the principle of permanent member, but permanent member who have power to veto a decision. And because of that, it becomes difficult sometimes for UN to come out with a decision that are aligned with its principle or with the charter. Now we need to continue. We are not backing off. We are not discouraged. We are continuing to engage with the member state, and we are continuing to find solution in that front. But I don't want also, when we speak about UN, we look at only the political aspect related to the Security Council, or sometimes its difficulties maybe to make a breakthrough when it comes to peace. Because also those conflicts are coming with massive people suffering, with massive deprivation, with massive need of humanitarian assistance. And I want the people beyond the sphere of the Security Council or those big meetings that are held in New York and Geneva, people to look at also what UN is doing in terms of humanitarian assistance delivery. I think 2023 and 2024 are the year where UN faced its biggest loss of number of staff. And those are staff who are in the front line, whether they are with the United Nations Refugees Agencies in Palestine, UNRWA, have lost close to over 200 staff. I don't know in the other humanitarian front how many staff we have lost. And in all those fronts, those staff we lost are staff who on a daily basis take the risk of their life, walk out of their way, simply to go and help those who need UN support. I want us also to balance when we develop a narrative to UN. We don't look at only where the Security Council is having a problem to make a decision, or where we haven't achieved a breakthrough in bringing peace or bringing the party to the conflict around a discussion table, but we look at also the other side, where people suffer, where UN staff on a daily basis go out of their way, take the risk of their life, do what no one can imagine every single day, just to go and help those that are suffering. And this, by the way, I have seen not only on those conflict areas that you mentioned, but here, even in Nigeria. I mean, I can tell you how much when I was Minister of Staff here, we have lost staff, we have got staff abducted, we have seen the extraordinary work that the UN staff are doing. And I feel that as we celebrate the UN Day, this is their day too. And I want those people to be remembered, to be celebrated for paying the highest price just for the UN to succeed, or just for the most suffering people to be reached by the UN assistance.
It's actually the humanitarian work that the UN does brings my attention to a really wonderful work actually that the UN has done in Nigeria. The recent one being that Nigeria benefited with the UN intervention with a record amount of money in aid to victims of Maiduguri flood disaster recently. So can you tell us how the women felt doing that and the response you got?
Listen, as I say, our primary responsibility is also, part of our primary responsibility also is to bring assistance to those who are victims of conflict, those who are victims of natural disasters, those who face particularly difficult hardship. And the Maiduguri flood was what? It was a dam that was broken late night and that have brought water to the point of almost half of the city of Maiduguri, because 2 days after the flood, I led a big UN team to go not only to assess the situation, but express our sympathy to the victims, to the official authorities, and at the same time see how we can step up our response. In this regard, yes, we have used the resources we have available. We have the Nigerian Humanitarian Fund that have immediately released $6 million, and we have received also over $5 million from the Central Emergency Fund, which is a globally managed humanitarian response fund. But these are just the centralized funding that I refer to, but each of and every of the UN agencies also engaged in. The first day I saw WFP providing hot meal to those displaced people. I saw UNHCR providing non-food item to those who needed it and were on those displaced. I saw UNICEF IOM setting up sanitation and hygiene and water facilities in the camp. I saw UNFPA supporting and UN Women supporting the women who could have been victim to gender-based violence, or who felt just isolated because they are households led by women. I mean, it was a wide range of intervention that we did. And by the way, that was not only in Borno. I think when you look at the recent flood, because Borno we had the dam that was broken, which bring the water at an unprecedented to the other. People are saying that over 2 decades they haven't seen this level of flooding. But let's not forget also that many states in Nigeria face flood, and we are not yet out of the flooding season. And in all those states, we have also engaged into supporting the state to build up the response, which I'm saying, and I'm happy that you brought that question, because when the people talk about UN, I don't want them to focus only on the inability of the Security Council to make a decision. They should also look at what we are doing, and we are doing on a daily basis to assist those who suffer from conflict, those who suffer from natural disaster, or those who suffer from economic hardship.
In this day of democracy, we see and hear of situations where votes are rigged, coupled with electoral malpractices, violence, and where law actually has been coming to make sure that there's justice.
We will come into in several ways. We, by the way, support here the National Peace Committee, which is led by His Excellency the former President Abdul Salam. I met recently with him. I think it was in the eve of the election in Edo State, and I think we are heading to Ondo, and in all of this we are providing them support so that at least they can strengthen the peace architecture and make sure that the electoral process comes also with peace and also reinforcement of the democracy. And I think in that regard, despite what one can say, Nigeria is on a kind of steady path toward democracy. I think the democratic era started in 1998 to now it's more than 25 years, and the country is continuing that journey, and I think the journey that we support.
Before I let you go, Mr. Fano, what's your parting word to the global community as regards UN passion and effort to make the world a peaceful place for everyone?
Everyone can have a word or a say about UN, but I feel that today, more than ever, UN is needed. Because the reason why it was created was war, was using gun to settle disputes, was non-respect of international law, of international humanitarian law, non-respect of human rights. But if you look at most of those things, we are hearing them coming back. And I think more than ever we need to build the buffer that can prevent us from going back to those dark days. And for that reason, I feel that UN is the only instruments that we have at a global level that can help to promote multilateralism, that can help to promote solidarity between nations, that can help to tackle the global challenge, because today there is no challenge that is just limited to one country's boundary. Most of the challenge, if you look at them, they are beyond boundaries. And only instruments that work and bring together states beyond their own boundary can help. And it's also the only instrument that look at all aspects of challenges that the human being is facing, whether it's related to peace, security, development, addressing inequality and poverty, looking at how to mitigate the climate change impact to the point that we can leave a better planet for the future generation, looking at how to govern and manage the technology that are good innovation that could also work against the interests of human beings. There is no other governing body that can do that, and that's why I'm saying my message is that today UN is more important than ever. And in the context of Nigeria being the country that this African continent look up to, being the country that can be the voice of our continent in the global stage, there is no country better placed to play a role of strengthening UN in this context than Nigeria. And that's my appeal to the people and to the government of Nigeria.
Well spoken, Mr. Fao, and I want to wish the UN the best as its mission to create a world where there is no rancor, where there is peace and harmony. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you so much, and let me also take this opportunity to wish to you, to wish to everyone, and to everyone in Nigeria happy UN Day, because UN Day is not only for UN staff, it's not only for UN organization, it's for everyone in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's been diplomatic ties on the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, and the UN. The resident coordinator and humanitarian coordinator in Nigeria, Mohammed Malik Fao, has acquainted us a lot with how far and what the organization has done to live up to its mandate of ensuring global peace. Until the same time next week, this is Nancy Goodman. Thanking you for watching.